Right, so going to do 2 washes today, but I'll be putting them in separate videos. The first one will be an Alcotec Turbo Yeast 48, and obviously then afterwards, once it's ready, I'll be using the Turbo Clear or Clar. Now for this one, you do get the option at the back to then specify what sugars you want, 6, 7, 8 or 9 kilograms. I'm going to go for the 8 kilograms, which should apparently take 5 days, and it'll be at 19% alcohol. So we'll see how that goes. Now, first thing it says we need to do is grab 15 litres of water at 25 degrees Celsius. Unlucky, I've got my trusty Love Brewing boiler here, and I've already set that to 25 degrees, so that's already ready for it. 15 litres. Now maybe here's some time. Right, that's 15 litres. So the next instructions is to add the sugar. Now, I always use bog standard pantry sugar, granulated sugar, and get it from local supermarket. I always find open it over the actual bucket as well, because otherwise sugar goes everywhere. Okay, so that's pushed the volume up to literally exactly 20 litres. So the next fun task is to dissolve all the sugar. So it literally is, just keep stirring it. You can see all the granules. Let's see what we're at now, whether I need to boil the kettle or not. Yeah, it's at 19 at the moment, going up. 20, 21, 22. Yeah, it's holding at 22.9. So that's good. That's well within the range that it wants. So what I now can do, since this is still at 26, just top this up now to 25 litres. Give it a bit of a stir. Okay, let's take a temperature reading. At 21 degrees, 22, 23, really slowing down now. Yeah, let's say 23.5 thereabouts, which is perfect. So apparently we now just empty the yeast. Now it does state on here, do not use a airlock, but I'm going to. I think the main reason is they don't want it to pop off, or someone to load in too much water or not enough water, and then causing an issue. To say use a towel, but I like to always use an airlock. There we go. All in. Give it a little bit of a stir. Don't need to stir it too much. It's perfectly fine to get clumps like this because it will just stick together. It'll all break down nicely in the end. Right, that will do me. So what we're going to do, let's put the lid on. And just make sure, no, there we go. Make sure it's got a good seal. Then we'll drop the immersion heater in. Put that at the back like that. Push it down to get a nice seal. And need a tiny touch of water, oops, to go in here. I will not need much at all. That will do. And there you go, just check it. Yeah, we've got a good seal. If you push the lid down, you can see the movement. That means you've got a good seal. So we are done. I will come back and check that maybe an hour and see if we've got any movement in the airlock, because sometimes you can. Otherwise, we'll check on it tomorrow. All right, so it's been 12 hours since I put the wash in. We can see that there's a nice ring of bubbles at the top, and then we look at it's bubbling away nicely. Admittedly, I had honestly thought that this would be bubbling a lot more after 12 hours, but it's got a very good steady flow, so I am happy. So we are on day 2 of the Alcotec, and as you can see, it is bubbling nicely. Can't really see much in there. Just see obviously the water line. Can't see any bubbles at all, but again, I don't want to open it because what's the point when it's working really well. So very happy with this. Checking in again, maybe in a day or two, and we'll see how it goes. We are now day 8, and you can see it's slowed down an awful lot, but it is still producing gas and at a reasonable amount. So even though it said 5 days, yeah, no. Wouldn't surprise me if we go to 10 days. That's fine. I'll check in a few more days. Hello, so we are day 14 now. So we're quite a way over what they say it will take. And it is still producing air. It's very slow, as you can probably see. I had come out to take a hydrometer reader or reading, but yeah, there's no point. I'm going to leave another couple of days and then we'll see how it goes, because there's no point checking it now because it's still working, and I know that it will have changed by tomorrow. Here we go. Yeah. So, yep, leave another 24 hours, see how we go. And what this says here is first you have to rack off to remove any sediments. Obviously that means siphon out. So I've got my brews up there, or the wash, and I'm going to siphon off into this bucket down here. So it states, rack off any sediment and then shake or stir vigorously to remove the CO2 and add sachet A and stir gently. Wait 2 hours and then add sachet B, stir gently and leave for 24 hours. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to siphon off into that barrel, and then I'm going to reposition this, put this back up the top, and then I'll degas it. Generally what I try and do is I put the siphon tube in the corner like that. So when I siphon off, it keeps the air out. So I do. I use one of these auto pump ones. So you just pump it a little bit. I only pump it a little bit. I don't want to disturb it too much. Can't hear it, but it's coming out nicely. You can see a little gradient coming down. Remove that. need to stop in a sec. Yeah, that's all I'm going to get. Yeah. You'll look very thin amounts of yeast. It's quite runny. Not used to that from the still spirits. Still spirits is usually very thick. So that's it. I now wash, degassed, not degassed, racked off. And if we look at that, looks identical, as it probably should do. And we've got a little over 25 litres. So I've hardly lost anything. So this is good news. Right, so I'm going to go and wash the bucket and wash my equipment, and then I'll come back for the degassing. It's basically a long steel bar which has two bits of plastic bolted through with a self-locking nut. It's loose, so these can just fly all over, and then a split pin in the middle of it to stop them going down. So what happens, it stays like that, but when you spin it, they then raise up, and then they degas. And all you do is put it on your drill, there we go, and then when you turn it on, it spins really fast. There's lots of fun. Alright. Now, the fun part is it can get very messy if you put it on too fast, so let's go. Well, see, there you go. There are all the bubbles. Let's go a little bit lower. Where we are. There's the bottom of the barrel. See if you can hear this. That's lots and lots of bubbles. So this has an awful lot of gas in there. Now this is day 16. And obviously they state that, and I used 8 kilograms of sugar, that this should finish in 5 days. Oh, we're 16 days. So I've never had a wash finish the right amount of time, they say. So now the bubbles are dispersing. And if you go too fast, it will create a little whirlpool, or a big whirlpool. It will raise up on the sides, and it will actually splash outside of your barrel, so be very careful. Let's give another bash. What I do is just do bits like that. Right, we are degassed. That's what I always do, is I will, obviously I don't do this over a bucket normally, but cut that in half. So, going back to the original instructions, it does say rack off, which we've done. Shake vigorously to remove CO2 while we've degassed it. Add sachet A and stir gently, then wait for 2 hours and do B. So, I'm going to cut off the top of the A sachet. And then quite literally stir in gently and pour it in. There you go, a bit there. There we go. So that is A. That's stirred in gently. There we go. So what I will do now is just rest the lid on, just resting it, and I'll be back in 2 hours to put in sachet B. Right, it's been 2 hours now. So I have got my pouch B and I'm just pouring it gently everywhere. Get it everywhere. And while it says don't stir too much, giving it a very gentle stir. There we go. That's all. And then what we'll do, put the lid back on. Well, it's kind of cool. Actually, I don't know if you can see it. No, there was nothing there. Okay, all good. As you can see, this did not clear. You can just about make out the bottom. If we look, there is a layer of yeast there, but for some reason it did not clear. Now, I've been speaking to Hamilton Bard through email, and they think that there's a possibility that it got too hot, the yeast then died, and there's residual sugar in the wash, and clearing agent can't clear sugar. So they think that's all sugar, which to me is quite a bit of sugar. I don't know. They could be right. I doubt it, because there's an immersion heater in there set to 22 degrees. And it didn't go above, say, 20 degrees near the end. A couple of spikes at 20. The rest of the time it was 10, 12 degrees, very cold. And the immersion heater would have kept it warm. So it didn't get too cold either. So unfortunately, I'm going to have to write this wash off and tip it down the drain. Sad. It's the first one I've had to throw away in 6 years. At some point, I will buy another Alcotec yeast when I get around to it, and I'll do another test, see how it goes. But yeah, this one, no go.